thank you for coming out to 1 Million Cups El Paso. Show of hands, please. Who's here for the first time? Anybody? Any first timers? Liar, thank you. Okay, anybody? Well, we understand there's an accident on the freeway, so again, thank you for being here. We'd like to start off introducing our organizers. We have Serena Carter.
Yes.
I don't know I'm Enrique Gonzalez. For Sandra. Esther Lopez.
Good morning, everybody.
Nicole Martinez back here. Martinez from here, she has a lot of last names. And then Nancy Lowry in the back. And I'm Ernesto Gamboa, also known as Enrique, whatever you prefer. Thank you for being here. We'd like to do a shout out to our sponsors. Our delicious, very delicious coffee in the back is by 210 Coffee Roasters. They do have 3 retail locations here in town. Please support them. Their coffee's awesome. I personally have a huge bias for their honey latte is amazing. I only get half the honey and it's still awesome. But please support them. Our venue sponsor is the Hub of Human Innovation, where we currently are. What is the Hub? We are a business and technology incubator. We're supported by the City of El Paso and other private donors for the purpose of economic development to help companies, particularly that have new technologies or products or services, come to market. So if you're one of those, please come talk to us. We can help you start your business, grow your business, establish your business. And because we're supported by the city, we are very, very affordable. What is 1 Million Cups? It was started by the Kauffman Foundation. It's an entrepreneurial networking, showcase, and educational event. Every Wednesday morning in 140 communities, over 140 communities across the U.S., we bring together 2 entrepreneurs in their community to tell their story, how they got established, their trials, their tribulations, their growth, and more importantly, how the community can help them. After their short presentation, you all get to ask them questions for 15 minutes. And that's the real value add, that where you all can challenge them, ask them the tough questions, and provide that real valuable feedback. Please do follow us, both the Hub and 1 Million Cups, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can download the 1 Million Cups app at 1millioncups.org or .com and .org, both direct there. On the app, please do check in. You can also provide feedback to the presenters, so that's a really cool function. Nancy, did you have something? I saw you peeking out from the back. No? Okay. Well, with that, a couple of housekeeping announcements. If you parked in front of the building in the angle parking, please make sure you're backed in. If you're not, the city will come and leave you a little love note. If you're on the side closest to Durango, you only have an hour. If you're the side closest to the Paisano curve, then you're unlimited time, so please be careful where you park. And please make sure you signed in. If you didn't sign in on the way in, please make sure you sign in on the way out. Very, very important. And with that, we'll bring up our first presenter, Lingua Franca.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, what do Netflix, the clothing on your back, printer manuals, and a police report have in common? Any ideas? Translation! Translation is a $43 billion sector. This is the latest figure from Common Sense Advisory. And translation literally touches every industry. This is just a sampling. Let's do a lightning translation exercise. Those of you that are bilingual, if you're not, find a neighbor quickly and consider the translations of the following phrases. Number 1, I'm so excited to be here. Let me introduce you. Any ideas? Any wheels turning as to what possibilities might be? Si lo hice, perdón, in Spanish. Auxilio, está intoxicado. Ya de haber probado el garrote. Any responses quickly? Off the top of your head? Yes?
What do you want us to translate that to somebody?
Yeah, into English, or you can say it out loud, or into Spanish.
I'm so excited, estoy tan excitado estando aquí.
Okay, so some of you said no. Yes?
Excitado has a whole new meaning in Spanish. It's
Let's
actually emotional.
let's explore that whole meaning, shall we? So translations, depending on the full picture, the full context, can have multiple answers, multiple variations that can be correct interpretations. But the downside is that there are also a lot of misinterpretations that are possible. So in this first example, as the gentleman in the back stated, excitado, that's a common false cognate for the word excited. And it, in Spanish, unfortunately, has that sexual connotation of being aroused. So if you or your person, your quasi-bilingual personnel, they find themselves kind of doing your best to represent yourself, or themselves, or your company, and they come up to a potential client or buyer and they say, estoy muy excitado. I mean, that can lead you to some hot water, right? So really, translation can lead to, depending on what you say, terrible or awesome first impressions, or damage or enhance your professional image and credibility. On the next one, depending on how it's translated, someone could be convicted or acquitted. If this was a note that somebody hand wrote and this is presented in court as evidence of their guilt or not guilt, depending on who interpreted and how, this could be fodder for a courtroom battle. Number 3, this is actually the subject of a $71 million lawsuit. This one word, the word intoxicado, was mistranslated as drugged, with the meaning in Spanish as being drugged, when in reality the patient suffered from food poisoning, and so the patient was treated for having overdosed, and there were harsh consequences. And then on this last one, this is a sample of a translation that actually came through my desk in the translation of HR documentation with regard to workplace complaints. And what I ended up doing in this instance was providing the decision maker with the multiple interpretations depending on several factors. And so my translation could have either led to someone losing their job or led to someone having kept their job. So really, there's life-altering results in translation and interpretation, even if you're just winging it as a professional bilingual. So who am I? Hi everyone, I'm Valeria, and I completely bilinguify operations. I do not offer translation interpreting services in the traditional sense, but rather I take the time to get to know the core of your business, your mission statements. If you have bilingual operations or aspire to have bilingual operations in any sort of sense, I come and I really get to the core of who you are, what your needs are, what your wants and I create a customized plan and I execute it. And these are my 4 services that I offer: consulting, training of your bilingual personnel so that they can project the best image of your company or your mission. And interpreting, if you have Spanish-speaking clients or an audience of some sort that you try to communicate with and you want to do so effectively, I provide my interpreting services. And translation, obviously documentation, if you have Spanish content or if Spanish content come across your desk and you would like to know what the English version of those very important documents are, I can also help you with that. And this is kind of my focus based on my 15 years in the workforce, both as a direct provider of these types of services and just kind of in my past life before I launched my business 2 years ago. And so I provide really a blended expertise with direct experience in business, in the outreach, social services spheres, and healthcare. I've worked in Houston, the Texas Medical Center, and with government, with the environment, law enforcement, and some legal entities, especially here locally in El Paso, such as the RWC, TCEQ, Department of Homeland Security, Border Health. I work with some law firms. I am a proud state hub, historically underutilized business. I'm also a contract holder for Region 19, so I can do business with all of the school districts. And these are just some of the nifty codes that they use. I speak El Paso, I truly do. I speak U.S. Spanish, U.S. English, Mexican Spanish, Latin American Spanish, and I have to be very specific because depending on who your audience is, you have to target the very specific audience or that ear, that culture, and that's what I bring to the table. I'm a native El Paso, and I was born and raised in the Lower Valley. I come from a modest background, immigrant parents. I graduated cum laude, top of my class, from San Isidro High School. And I attended UTEP. I have a bachelor's in psychology and French. I took graduate courses in judicial interpretation and translation. Currently, I teach interpreting and translation at UTEP. I'm a part-time lecturer, and I also teach some of the faculty on special topics such as ethics and translation and working with special software for translation. I'm also a graduate of the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey, which is one of the most prestigious schools in the world, really. It's only second to the school in Geneva for what I do, which is conference interpreting. I have a master's in Spanish translation and interpretation from there. I'm also a nationally certified healthcare interpreter. When I worked in the Texas Medical Center, I applied myself and earned this certification with national validity. I'm also a voting member of the American Translators Association and the sitting president of the local El Paso Interpreters and Translators Association. I'm also a proud member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and they're actually one of my happy clients. So. Any questions? But I wouldn't pass.
Who are some of your, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll go here first,
Okay.
and then we'll come back.
And I've mentioned before, and I'm very intrigued by your discipline here. Has it evolved gradually through the years, or has it evolved as it progresses since you started studying?
Has what evolved?
Your discipline, which is such as political correctness, number one, and also the general area. The general area here, as we learned it here on Border Spanish, is useful.
Mm-hmm.
Back, I'm back from the 60s and 70s, so obviously it's evolved into something totally different today. Has it evolved drastically in every region, or just here on the border? And I'm talking about the Spanish.
That's a good question. Actually, language is ever evolving. It's a living thing. So you can't, I mean, if you read Shakespeare, you can see the progression from English then to English now. So with regard to Spanish specifically, I mean, U.S. Spanish is a thing. Ask any marketer, ask any graphic designer, they know. When they have a service order, work order, that's one of the questions. Who is your target audience, right? Who's your target market? And you have to be very specific with the dialect or the culture that you're trying to target. And so that's true certainly also in translation. As far as how the language has evolved, I mean, Hispanics are slated to be the majority minority by 2020 in the United States. And so undoubtedly, some of that Spanglish is going to influence English and Spanish. So it's just in constant change. Yes.
Name one of your clients, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And I have an example of some more of your clients here locally and remotely.
Locally, I also partner with Viva Impulse. I'm sorry? Viva Impulse Creative. They do website design, and so when their clients ask them for a website redesign, and they ask for it to be bilingual, that's where I come in.
Okay.
So that's one of them. One of my larger clients is the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They have several very interesting initiatives to clean up the environment, and they can't do that in a vacuum. They can't do that from in Austin or even just El Paso. They know they need to partner with Mexico, Juarez, and New Mexico, because we all breathe the same air and there's no border to that, right? And so that's where I come in, and I assess them on how to effectively communicate bilingually to make their projects a success. And with that comes some of the documentation, the technical documentation is translated, and when they have in-person meetings or when the techs get together and work on an air monitoring station, I actually go to Juarez and I'm there facilitating the communication between the Austin contractor, the Ecologia staff from the municipality of Juarez, and then maybe a representative from the EPA here in El Paso. So that's the kind of stuff, yes.
You mentioned your degree in French and another. Is there a demand for French translation here? There is a French population.
Oh, yes. Well, yes, I do have a degree in psychology and French, but I don't consider it a working language of mine in my field of translation and interpretation, because in order to work in this field and do a good job, you have to have native level proficiency and also understand native level proficiency in terms of the language, but also in terms of the culture. And so I think after college I stopped pursuing it because I discovered this field. Initially I thought I was going to be a psychologist, which is why the psychology part of it, but I fell in love with and discovered this field, and so I went on and perfected my Spanish so that I didn't speak just my home-cooked border Mexican Spanish, but also the Spanish that's required in professional settings, business settings, and conferences. And so that's why I've taken that route. But I guess to answer your question, yes, there is a demand for French. There is a demand for all languages in this really globalized world, because now all of us as business owners, we can do business with people anywhere in the world. One of my clients is in Singapore. Wow. Yeah. So it's wide open.
Just as a comment like that a lot of people don't realize as you just said, I'll emphasize your point, that there's a lot of demand for other linguistics here in El Paso. I just arranged for translation from some Russians. This will be visiting here next month. And we have people here who come to work to help us translate Russian.
Yes, I believe we do. We have, if we don't have people locally, I'm sure for conferences or big events, they're brought in from other places. I used to work in Houston for a translation agency, and I used to staff, funny that you mentioned that, because I used to staff Russian English technical translators for a large engineering firm. And so, yeah, finding the speakers is easy, but finding true translators who can translate technical documentation is very hard. It's like a needle in a haystack kind of thing. So, yeah.
So small business owners, if we want to hit double the market that we're targeting, obviously, we would be able, if we consulted with you first to see if you can help us reach that, whether in print or in language, would you be able to do that like in an appointment?
That's correct, yes. So first I offer my consulting service just to really understand what the core of your business is and who's the market that you currently interact with, the Spanish speakers that you currently maybe are struggling to interact with in any way, shape, or form, and then the ones that you want to reach out to. And then we create a custom plan that may involve all 4 of my services, or maybe just translation, or maybe just interpretation, or maybe just training of your bilingual personnel to put forth that right image of your message. Yes.
I just want to make a statement, and it is so true, that to interpret, me as a banker for so many years, it was very difficult sometimes to relay the message to the customer in Spanish as to exactly what the message you were trying to convey. And sometimes that can get you into big trouble.
Right.
You know, like if you want to tell me, you know, you're delinquent on your accounts, and then somebody called the customer delinquente. So he was very upset about it.
Called it a
That was an
criminal.
insult. So it was like, I'm not a criminal. So it's like, so we had to, but it's true.
Yes.
And even when I moved to the international department, I thought, oh, I can do it. I speak Spanish. But no, to my surprise, I didn't know Spanish at all. So yeah.
And you know, we're in a culture in El Paso where everyone's really nice and wants to help. And when you ask a bilingual to come and help you, just quickly, just here, help me communicate, they're not going to say no. First of all, they're being put on the spot. Second of all, they feel like, well, if they say no and you're the boss, how's that going to make me look? And then third of all, you don't really know what just happened. She could have just, for all you know, she could have called the customer a delincuente, a criminal, when she just meant to say your account is delinquent.
Yeah.
Which is not the same.
And it did happen. So it's like, how do we fix this? So.
Or Nika.
So that's why I come in and I take that that struggle, that I free you from that untrained but well-meaning kind of bilingual, quasi-bilingual assistance, and we do something purposeful and something that's clear-cut. And so, yes, back there, over here.
Well, and such as I work with, oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to relate how important this is. In my previous life, I was the bankruptcy trustee in El Paso. And I can remember we had a case involving a bankruptcy filing where 80 angry Koreans showed up to the first meeting of creditors. And each side had their own translator. So I would ask the question, and the next thing I know, the translators would be talking to themselves for, 5 minutes, and then say, the answer to your question is no. I had no idea what they were talking about. So this service is really valuable.
Yes. And that's transparency. That's one of our ethical values that as trained interpreters that we follow. So we'd never leave you hanging and having our side conversation and then just telling you whatever you want to hear, or we think you want to hear, or condensing the message. We offer the true message in its form. We had Tom over here. Yes.
What's been the hardest part of since you have your business?
The hardest part, honestly, because my business is still young, 2 years. It'll be 2 years in 2 weeks. 2 years old in 2 weeks. So the hardest part for me really has been just understanding what my core service is. And that is, I finally figured it out just a couple of days ago, actually. And that is, I can completely transform and bilinguify your operations. Not just, send me a document to translate here and there. Send me tell me if you're having trouble communicating with a Spanish-speaking client. I'll come help you one day. No, I want to provide the full service. Because especially here, border businesses understand this need very, very much. So, back there.
You said you worked in Houston for an agency. Can you tell us a little bit about your story, why you decided to come back to El Paso and start your own business? And what was the motivation? What's your journey like?
I'm glad you asked. Well, after I graduated from the Monterey Institute, graduated from there. It was a prestigious and expensive school, but I we came out of there, all of the grads came out of there thinking, we're gonna go be hotshot conference interpreters and interpret for diplomats and work at the United Nations. And of course, reality sets in rather quickly. And I actually came back to El Paso, just trying to figure out what my next step was gonna be. And I worked with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office as a victim services liaison, but also the department translator and interpreter, and I would interpret for the sheriff at town hall meetings and do some department content translation. And then my husband moved us to Houston, and I started freelancing, but I was like a fish out of water, just waiting for jobs to come my way. And I started freelancing for medical appointments, so at the major hospitals that I mentioned earlier. And then a local translation agency took notice of me, and they were hiring for a project manager position for their translation department. And they interviewed me and hired me on the spot. And I ended up wearing 4 different hats for that agency. I was the translation project manager, the trainer of interpreters, the recruiter of special projects, so not just Russian English, but also English Spanish, technical translation in the oil and gas industry. And then eventually I got pregnant. I cut my maternity leave short to go work at an engineering firm for the same company, but I headed a group of 7 technical translators, English, Spanish, oil and gas, for an engineering firm in Houston. And then what brought us back was actually my husband's job again. And so when we came back, I was working remotely for that same agency for maybe a year. And then I decided it was time to launch my own thing and serve my community. And that's what I strive to do now. Thank you.
Any other questions before the last question? Okay, the last question always, what can we as a community do to help you?
Well, I guess just understand and advocate the need for professional translators and interpreters. Even if it's not me, just help others understand that getting the right message across is crucial, and not just everyone can do it just because they're bilingual. Just because we all have a voice, does that make us great singers? No, right? So.
All right. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. I thought I spoke Spanish when I went to college, and I was trying to get a minor in Spanish, and my Spanish professor who had studied in Madrid said, "It hurts my ears the way you talk Spanish." So, I still got the minor though, so I didn't use it. But now we have some time for some community announcements. I know we had one in the back. Andy, nice and loud.
Okay.
Or come up here, nice and
For
loud.
those who are interested, I am a volunteer with the Vector Workforce Texas Senate campaign. Our office is right next door in the station. We are always looking for volunteers. If you have an hour a week to give, if you have 20 hours a week to give, whatever you can do, there's tremendous excitement associated with the campaign. We do not take any PAC money. We do not take any special interest money. Every donation is from individuals. And last quarter, we got 55,000 individual donations and outraised Ted Cruz by $500,000. It's a great thing for El Paso. So if anyone has some time, we'd love to have you as a volunteer. Just come see me after the presentations today. Thank you.
Another one right here.
One of my clients is NIFA, National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. They have a monthly meeting. This one is tomorrow at the El Paso Club at noon. Come if it's your first time and you're a financial advisor. It's free, and then after that you have to pay. But you can just come up and show up no RSVP needed. So I hope I see you there.
Another one.
Yeah, I would like to invite everyone. We're going to have a How Many work session next Tuesday at 6 o'clock in my office. I can give you the address. And what we'll be doing is just providing basic financial concepts. We feel that we want to educate everyone financially so you can make better decisions. You will have the opportunity also to get to know individuals and network. So I will put the information and the address, or you can send me at the end for the location.
Tom?
Good morning, everybody. Tom Handy. I offer services for, if you want to give out cryptocurrency, I do 2 events during the week. One's tomorrow at Forma Pizza on the west side on Marion Mesa. Other one's on Mondays at Famous Days on Airway. It's usually about an hour. Starts at 11:30. Thank you.
Cruz?
My name is Cruz Jimenez. I'm the president of the Kids Institute. We are focused on natural intelligence, specifically artificial intelligence is the one that we're trying to complement with natural intelligence. Our focus is basically going to be on critical thinking. We are offering a critical thinking workshop, Introduction to Critical Thinking, this Saturday and the following Saturday. For all those who want to attend, please let me know at the end of the session.
Any others? Any other community announcements? Any? Okay, we have a bunch. Oh, yes ma'am, sorry.
Good morning. I'm part of the networking group called E2, and we're hosting an event on February 20th. It's completely free of cost, and it's for anybody in the community that wants to interact with other entrepreneurs, innovators, business professionals. It's a very different from this concept. It's a very chill and relaxed setting. For anybody that's interested, you can reach me afterwards. My name is Michelle.
You're not saying that this group isn't chill and relaxed, right? That's your message, though. I just want to be clear. Just
No, this is great.
We're uptight. We're uptight and stiff. So.
No. It's just a very different environment. That's all.
Thank you. Any others? Any others? Okay. The SBDC Small Business Development Center is having an event today. I think it already started. It's 8 hours with the Contract Opportunity Center on how to solicit for parents, submit a proposal, cradle to grave, how to prepare your proposal training. So if you want to go over and grab that in progress, you can probably do that. Next, we have unemployment tax rates and claims, hiring and firing procedures. This is also through the SBDC and the SBA. It's a 3-part series. The last one will be February 9th from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Next, the Hub here is having our monthly evening seminar, Professional Style in the Workplace, Wednesday, February 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. Workplace style, the fine line of managing appearance as a professional woman. I find that somewhat sexist, but I plan to be here anyway. Makeover by Elise Simmons and tips on the wardrobe. So come to see us for that. And then we will have wine and chocolate apparently, so I'm definitely coming in here for that, you know that. Texas PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy. The El Paso County Economic Development is pushing a program in how to upgrade your commercial property with energy efficiency, water efficiency, and distributed generation technologies, but need lack needed capital. They can help. Next, the Hub's legal office hours in conjunction with Kemp Smith. You get 25 minutes of free consultation right here with an attorney. You do need to set up or register rather. The next event will be February 15th. We do ask that you register by the 8th, which is tomorrow, I think. Please see somebody here from the Hub if you're interested in that. Next, the El Paso Hispanic Chamber is doing Hablemos del Dinero 2.0. That's an ongoing series every month. The next upcoming one is March 8th. How to create a marketing plan. April, it'll be developed financial projection, and it goes on from there all the way up until September. So a bunch of good information. Next, Cruz already talked about the Piensa Institute workshop. Please see him if you're interested in that. Next, the Texas Workforce Commission is doing Texas business conferences for employers. They're doing these all over the state. The one in El Paso is May 4th. 2018 at the El Paso Marriott. So if you have any interest in that. We have also been pushing the Governor's Economic Development Exporting Assistance Initiatives. It's a great program. I think most of it is free. If you have any interest in exporting or you're already exporting and want to grow your exports, they can assist. So please see us if you have any interest in that. Please do sign up for the Downtown El Paso Insider. You can get the newsletter, find out all the things that are happening in downtown. Breakfast with Friends. It's a free business networking every Thursday at Carnitas Querétaro on the west side, 9077 Gateway Boulevard. Those folks are great supporters of us, so we like to be good supporters of them. Lastly, or almost lastly, these are a lot of information, a lot of events. There's a website called startupdigest.com. If you go to startupdigest.com/El Paso, because there's a bunch of communities that use it, you can see all these events, you can sign up for a newsletter, you can submit your events. So please do that, startupdigest.com. And lastly, we are soliciting, since we are now in our second year of soliciting. I know I can have, but it's okay. Estamos excitados. Okay, it's all right. We are soliciting for your success stories connected to 1 million cups. Okay, we've already got our first couple. Sandra here gave me some, so please do. If you had any kind of connection with a client, a customer, a sale, anything like that, exposure, please let us know. We want to know that. Next, we need to give, I'd like to recognize Joe Hernandez from the City's Empowerment Zone. Where are you, sir? I'd like to meet you and speak with you afterwards. We have a client that might be interested, but if anybody has any interest in El Paso's Empowerment Zone, you have somebody here from the city, thank you for being here. Next, we're going to give away one of our travel mugs. Drop in your business cards, folks. There's not a lot of business cards here compared to who's here. I don't want to... Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh, you have one. You won one already, didn't you?
I did.
Do you want another one, or do you want to?
Sure, I don't.
You'll take it? Sell it on eBay?
I'll sell it on eBay. I'm holding for you, actually.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I got one of them. I got the cool ones. The better ones. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and bring up our second presenter who brought this awesome layout, SoElPaso. Can you, advance a couple of slides for that?
Okay, well, here's my black and white presentation.
But you're not black and white, you're going to have the colors.
I got color.
And it turns into color later, don't ask me why.
Oh, okay.
The first couple slides are black and white.
Here it is. Okay. Well, my name is Ann Husband-Mitchell. I want to thank the Hub for inviting me back to speak. I spoke about a year ago and had a really good time doing it, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. A few things have changed in my business in the last year. So, here we go. I'm a fourth generation El Pasoan. I went to Coronado High School and then also got a BBA in finance from Texas A&M University. Don't let the blonde hair fool you, I really am an El Pasoan. And then my first job out of college, I worked, oh now it's color, woo! My first job out of college, I worked at Apple Computer, which is a great company to work for, as you know, it was back then too. Very startup mentality, they let you do whatever you needed to do to get the job done, and that kind of set my goal of being an entrepreneur because you just did what you needed to do. Worked for a company called Silicon Graphics, it's a hardware company in Silicon Valley. Same kind of startup concept, it was really fun to work for, and then I worked for a small, it was a Macintosh software company, and I worked directly with the CEO, and it was a lot of fun. I was in charge of international distribution of the software, so it was really good working directly with the owners of the company and learning kind of how to run a business, but the computer industry is very hard. So I got tired of that, and I was done with the computer industry, and I opened my first retail store, Texan by Design. It was in Salado, Texas, which is on the freeway between Dallas and Austin. We sold a bunch of stuff from El Paso Saddle Blanket. We sold oak furniture, longhorns, rugs, all kinds of metal, rusty stuff. And it was a really fun business. The clientele was from all over Texas. Not a lot of, a few repeats, but not a lot of repeats. It was just a lot of traffic. Moved back to El Paso in 2000 when we bought the furniture manufacturing for that company. And I sold the store in 2001 and decided that there wasn't a full-service store, baby store in El Paso, Texas. So I opened a little store called Duck Duck Goose on the west side. Little different clientele, a lot of repeat business, a lot of gift registry, gift wrapping, that kind of thing, a little different than the last business, but neither one of these actually, at the very end of this business I had a website, but neither one had a website. There was no social media, there was no, actually, I think it was easier not having all that stuff, but anyway, so that's what I did, and then I sold that in 2010, and being a native El Pasoan, I always wanted something tangible to give my friends. And there was no place to find an El Paso gift. There was nothing that said El Paso, except old El Paso, I guess, was brought up at the last one, but I don't really count that. So I wanted something that El Paso Chili Company was in business. They went bankrupt in '09, and no one picked up that niche. I thought, well, gosh, we need to do this because El Paso's on the rise. We got a baseball stadium, we're knocking down things, we're putting things up, we're fixing things, and there's a lot going on in this town, and we need to be proud of it. So I wanted something tangible for me and for the city. So, can't be that hard. So I was working at RM Personnel, I was in sales and marketing there. I had the side thing, I did the branding and the colors and the products and all that stuff. I had a little warehouse and showroom, and I just think this guy's so funny. Please tell me more about how many that you have in your startup, because that's what you do. So this is where it started. I had this idea of, there are things that are so El Paso. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just so El Paso. Rock walls, or tumbleweeds going down the thing, or a Walmart bag and an Ocotillo cactus, all these things are so El Paso. And when you talk to someone, and I was at my high school reunion, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's so El Paso, getting drunk at 15 in Juarez, people don't do that. That's so El Paso. So anyway, that's where the name came from, and that was my original logo, which obviously I'm not an artist, and then it moved into this, which is not black and white, it's full color, but. And then El Paso Inc. came to me and they wanted to launch the product. They wanted to do a story about my company and everything, and so I was kind of forced to launch in March of 2015, which was really great. But I was in a location on RimCon, because it was kind of a little office thing, and I decided I needed a retail store. So I launched with just food items, and this was my original lineup, and with local names such as Butterfield Trail Mix, Charlie Park Caramel Corn, Mexican jumping beans. My salsa is salsa de mesa, which is the road, and also table salsa. Salsa de Alameda is our hot and spicy side of town, so that's the hot and spicy salsa. So we have some like hot desert dills. We have definitely some regional names. So then I decided, because I think Nancy told me we want to talk about brick and mortar, so where was I going to open? Well, to me, Kern is so El Paso. It's got that, old town vibe. It's quaint. Had established businesses. It was close to downtown and hotels that might need corporate gifts. They had reserved parking in front, which is like huge. I had a choice of space. Free use of the marquee, which probably doesn't sound like a big deal until you're in a space and they charge you to put their name on the marquee. And then the landlord was nice, fair, and he offered a 3-year lease, which most places offer a 5-year lease only. So it was kind of a good deal for me. And then the big deal was he was responsible for the HVAC. And if you've ever rented a place where you're responsible for the HVAC, it's not good. So that was another big thing for me, because I didn't want to be stuck with the HVAC bill when it went out. And the price was right. So I moved into Kern in September of 2015 with a simple revenue stream of, I was only going to sell food, I had my store, I had my B2B clients, and then I had my website. And that was simple. How hard can it be? And then it kind of expanded, and we got into wholesale. The airport wanted my product, which is a perfect fit. That's exactly what I wanted to happen because it's El Paso. And then El Paso Airport ended up, the Midland Airport got it. I went to, got into Whole Foods. They came knocking and wanted the salsa, and I passed their rigorous 25-page application. And when they opened in 2016, I got on their shelves, and I still am in my shelves today. In fact, I did a sampling on Saturday there. So, only the salsa though, because everything else has sugar. So the salsa is no preservatives. Then I decided I needed to get into the hotel gift shops because the tourist was what it's all about. And what happened is when we opened our store in Kern, people were asking for souvenirs. So they said, I'm like, well, Saddle Blank is no longer open to the public, and the Texas store left, and where do you buy a magnet or a mug or a keychain? So we started with souvenirs, and I decided we needed to kind of go after that tourist market as well, not just the locals who love El Paso and want an El Paso gift. So I got into the Hotel and Lodging Association and started networking with those folks, and now they kept asking for the product in the gift shops. So I hired a part-time girl. We're in about 20 hotels right now and about 8 specialty shops. So that's really fun, and that gives us a reason to go talk to the front desk and kind of sell our store and tell them all about what we do and where else you can get it. And so that's been a thing, and actually now I'm on the board of the Hotel and Lodging Association, so networking's fun, it's a great group, but that's a good example of how networking works. Online, we do have our website, which we don't do a whole lot of business, I think, because it's, I don't know, we just don't. BrandsofElPaso.com is a brand new startup here in El Paso. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of it, but we have our products on their website. And I'm trying to get into Amazon. It's my goal for 2018. So this is what we look like right now. My challenges in 2017 were, of course, all the construction, which everyone knows about in Kern Place and all over the city. The trolley car started January 2nd. It's still ongoing. And then right when we finished, they did this great beautification, which is all going to be good, but it was hard in 2017. I have a lot of different revenue streams. Where do I focus my time, my effort, my money? Getting people to think of gift giving other than December is a challenge. Had a professor from UTEP come in yesterday. He's going to Boston. He wanted to take a little something. He got little gifts, and we gave him little gift bags, and he was excited. He's like, I can't wait to give these people a taste of my town and just a little something, you know. People don't realize a little something goes a long way. So I hope everyone liked the burritos today.
Yes.
Okay, a little something goes a long way. Okay, so I'm finding time for outside sales, and then actually in April of last year I opened a second location downtown in the Mills building, and I did not have it up there because we're trying to figure out what's going on there. Right now it looks like the Prada store in Marfa. It's beautiful, it's set up, but you can't get in and buy anything because it's been really hard to find someone to man it. There's not a lot of foot traffic. It's across from Borderplex. There's great exposure, but there's not a lot of foot traffic. So I'm in negotiations right now with the landlord of what we want to do with it if we're kind of in negotiation. So I didn't really want the second location because it's hard to have people off-site. Employees are one of the hardest things, but I took a chance and we'll see, it still may work out well. My target market is anyone who wants to give or buy a gift that represents El Paso. I mean, that's basically it. So I have a lot of opportunities for 18. Construction will be finished, yay. I'm announcing new products, which I was hoping to have one today, but I don't. Maybe a week or two I'll bring some in. The snowball effect. You know, we've got 2 years under our belts. Things are happening, people keep coming, and it's kind of like, oh, where did you hear about us? They don't know, which is very cool. I've got as any business owner knows, your employees are key. I've got the A team. There's Alejandra, Andre, and me, Ann. And Alejandra's been with me for 2 years. She's the store manager. Andre's been with me a year, and employees are the key. So couldn't do it without them. I'm in the middle of trademarking my name and logo, and I want to expand to new markets. The whole idea with the whole bigger vision of SoElPaso is to have a So Phoenix, So Salt Lake City, So Tucson. So I didn't want to just be El Paso. I wanted to take this further. So that's always been my vision. So I'm trademarking the name and the logo. Right now I'm working on a So Midland and a So Marfa and a So San Antonio. So we'll see how that goes. So that's basically how I want to expand to the new markets. And then the last thing that I'm working on is with Sandra's help from Creative Gong. We need to tell people to return to Kern. I mean, everyone's afraid to go there, and oh my gosh, I'm not going to find parking, and blah, 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 and so, but G2 is so outdated. Well, he's updating. We have parking. We don't have orange cones. We're trying to get this little community and local business effort to rebrand Kern. It's called Return to Kern. And hopefully people will realize that we're back open for business. So that's just a little side thing I'm doing. But that's about it. So if y'all you have a question, or did I do my time?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, okay, yes,
That's great.
Yes, Nancy.
Okay, if you feel comfortable, can you tell us what percentage of revenue you're getting from your different revenue streams and how you expect that to change in 2018, or if you do expect it to change?
The majority of our business is B2B. So business clients doing 50 baskets or 75 baskets, or we do a lot of boxes. We ship a lot of boxes. We don't ship the actual baskets. We ship a box. The majority of it's B2B. Then I would say it's probably, because I just did these numbers, it's probably the retail store and wholesale are almost neck and neck, but the retail store is going to have a higher margin than the wholesale, obviously. But dollar for dollar, it's almost the same. And then the website's pretty small. I mean, people don't buy souvenirs online, they buy them when they're there. The website's getting bigger. We saw a big uptick in December, which means people are trying to send a piece of El Paso. So that's kind of the breakdown. The B2B's
And do you expect that to continue for 2018 and beyond, or are
well, yeah, I mean, I expect the retail to go up when we have the trolley car. We actually have maybe people riding it to go buy a souvenir. Tourists. You know, so the retail store, last year with that construction, it was just hard. I mean, people would like park and they would, you know, because we were kind of a destination at that point. But yeah, with tourists, I think I see the retail going up, but I see the B2B going up. You know, this year we had a lot of repeat clients from last year. That's that snowball effect that, you know, if we're doing something right and we take care of them, they're going to come back. So, yes.
Where are you doing your where are you doing your manufacturing?
What, for the food? Or
for everything. Food, your souvenirs, how do you source?
I just wholesale it. So the food, I have about 7 different vendors. Some are local, some are regional, some are not.
They just co-brand with you, is that?
A private label.
Private label?
Yeah. So it's like co-packing or private labeling. The souvenirs, you know, they come from China or wherever. We do some stuff from Mexico just because people don't want to go to Mexico, so we do have Mexico items. This past year I went to a souvenir trade show, and I used to kind of be stuck with like the stock souvenirs that said El Paso, and now that's kind of proven. Last year I went to a souvenir trade show and I was able to say, okay, yes, I'll commit to 144 of these shot glasses, but because I want it to be mine. So that's kind of the difference between last year and this year. Is with the buying, it's more, maybe you're not going to find it in Walgreens or something. So that's been really exciting. Like this little line right here that we created, it's Experience El Paso, and you get to pick, I think 25 things or something that explains El Paso. And I was like, there's no way in heck we're going to find 25 things in El Paso. There's no way. And it turns out it's pretty easy. You know, if people think about it, we'd have a lot going on here. We couldn't even put the Sun Bowl, and we couldn't put the Chihuahuas. You couldn't put anything with the trademark. So it's kind of cool to think, gosh, we have a lot going on here. Why are we not doing it? So this is exclusive to us, and we do the mugs and the cups and the cards and stuff like that. So that part's been really fun. And then the souvenirs, you know, we meet people from all over the world. So it's really fun to see people come in from Australia and Argentina and Japan, and so it's fun.
Yes, Sandra, one of the things that I really enjoyed for first time I went to your store is that you sell local artists' artwork. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Well, I like to do local stuff. The thing I found out with the food is everyone's just kind of mom and pop. They don't have the $1 million liability policy. They don't have, you know, register with the health department. They don't make it in a commercial kitchen. You know, anyone can make salsa, but you got to make it legit for me to sell it. So that's been my challenge. I mean, the artwork's easy because there's no liability in that. But I wish I had more. Like we do sell the L&J salsa. We sell some local honey from Michael Duchacat. You know, we try to. It's just people aren't stepping up to do that, take that extra step of making it a real commercial business, which is too bad, you know. I make great bizcochos, well, can't sell them, and you know.
Have you explored the tourist stream from the San Historic District with the missions and the art galleries down there?
As far as like putting my product down there, or?
Any possibilities? I mean, there seems to be a steady stream of tourism down there.
No, but that's a good idea. I mean, I've kind of gone out to the hotel motels. We were thinking of some other place the other day that was kind of off the beaten path, but that's probably a good idea. Because we do wholesale, and there's a lot of margin in it for the retailers, and we sell it at the same price that they sell it. We wholesale, like I sell this for $5.95, and I sell it to them for $3, so they can sell it for $6. So I'm not competing with the people who I wholesale to, which as a retailer is where you want it to be. So there's a lot of margin in them. So that's a good idea. I'll have Kirsten look for it. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
So you talked about these other markets, Marfa, Salt Lake City, San Antonio. Are you actually going to have retail presence in those markets, or are you partnering with retailers in those markets? How are you doing?
Well, I already sell to the Midland Airport. So the airports, there's a company called Parodies out of Atlanta, and they have 75 different airports, and they have all the gift shops in our airport, except that little Zia one. So even if it says El Paso or New York Times, it's owned by Parodies. If it says El Paso Saddle Blanket, it was owned by Parodies. So the buyer that buys from me, he also has a Midland market. So we were printing labels yesterday, so Midland. I'm like, why don't we just make it Midland? Why don't we just make and see if it sells any better? And then I got a really cool, do I still have time? A little bit. Okay. Really cool story. One of my vendors sells Mexico stuff, and a lady from Alpine came in and she said, hey, I really like this Mexico stuff, will you share your vendor? Well, most people won't do that, but I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Go for it. He's a great guy. His name's Alex. So she ends up getting a bunch of stuff from him. Well, he's in San Antonio last week delivering products. And he says, I've got this lady who's got great food items, why don't you do it? So she calls me, she says, I want to do San Antonio food. I go, well, I could change the label, we have the printer in-house. And she said, well, my gift store is right across from the Alamo. Like, oh my God. So I said, well, Louise, let me get you some stuff. Let me see. And then I went online, so hopefully, we can, so we made So San Antonio labels, which is exactly what my vision for this thing. So that's another thing, and then I'm working with a hotel in Marfa. So we changed the logo a little bit for San Antonio, we changed the logo a little bit for, just the So, and then we put their name. So hopefully, say a big prayer for San Antonio, the Alamo, remember the Alamo.
Any others? What can we as a community,
You're ready.
what can we as a community do to help you?
So just spread the word that we're the best and only place to buy El Paso branded food, gifts, and gift baskets. If someone wants El Paso, and you want to give a little something to your clients, we do a lot of this, we do some of these, we can print your own label, we can put your logo on it. I was telling Robert earlier, you can do your logo, and it's just a little something to give somebody, and they love it. And then, if you want to review our products, I know Tom did it last time, we always are looking for reviews. Obviously, hopefully everyone tasted the salsa today. We're always looking for reviews. And then come visit us. The store is really a lot of fun, like Sandra said. We've got graffiti on the walls, and you can sample everything. And don't come after lunch or put gum in your mouth. That's the only thing I'm like, ugh. So we have water, you can try the salsa, you can try everything. And it's just a fun little store. We have parking up front, don't be afraid. And just come visit us and see what we're all about.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. By the way, there's still burritos back there, so take them up. And again, you gotta have the salsa. That's the caveat. That's the price for the burrito. You gotta put the salsa on it. So thank you so much for coming out here. Last thing, please sign in before you leave. It's very important that we report back to our supporters that we're having an impact on the community. Please come back and visit us. Bring some friends. I see some potential presenters out there. Stop being afraid. Sign up and present at 1 Million Cups. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.